board members that have made themselves available today, and also especially all of our new board members. And just so like that, people know who's on, one at a time. Or Ralph, can you call out the 6 board members so like that to make sure?
The new board members?
Yes.
So on we have Jennifer Coleman, LaShawn Lindsay, Love Betancourt, Pasquale, what's your last name, Pasquale?
Gomez.
Pasquale Gomez, and Shatori McCoy Gregg. Those are the 6 new board members. And then on right now we have the chairman, Bobby Crespo. We got the first vice chair, Julia Cruz. We got the committee chair for education co-committee, Cedric McClester. And we have Paula Fields, who's the who's the treasurer and the chair of our housing committee. We have V. Tavares, who's the chair of our special events. And we have Yvonne Guillen, who's our secretary and the co-chair of our education committee. So we have a couple of committee chairs on, and we have 4 executive officers on right now.
So thank you, Ro. So
Oh, and I'm sorry, we have Cynthia. I'm not going to overlook Cynthia, the community coordinator, and myself, the district manager.
Cynthia, tell them just for that you want to raise. I want to say thank you to everybody because the weather's crazy out here, and I know it's crazy in New York. So I want to thank everybody for making it on time. Basically, what I've been doing this since I've been the chair of Community Board 2, and that is to meet with the new board members. This is the first time that I actually have the executive committee and the executive board also involved. So like that, they can give you a quick synopsis of for the new board members. The committee chairs can give a quick synopsis, and Ralph can also give you the other committees. We used to have an environmental committee. It's no longer functioning. We've now put it to the municipal committee, municipality committee. Before somebody tells me I'm saying it wrong, municipality and ECHO committee. So Ralph can give us a little bit on that. You have the chair of the housing committee. You have the 2 co-chairs of the education committee. And the reason there's 2 co-chairs, there are times when their schedule conflicts and they can't. They need to make themselves available to other meetings. So we made 2 committee chairs. Further, the other reason that there's 2 committee chairs is that one reaches out to the charter schools, has better connections with the charter schools, and the other works with some of the principals. So that's the reason for the 2. And what I always ask the new board members is the first simple question is why you wanted to be a board member, and the second question of importance to me is how do you see yourself in the next 3 years in the board, being board members. And so what I would do is I would ask Ralph to unmute the whoever we have on the line of the new board members. The executive committee, if you can, it's not that I don't want you to talk, but I want you to hear what they got to say. So I want all the exec committees to be muted, and we can start with, you got the roll call there, so I don't know who you
Okay.
Okay?
All right, I just want to say that we was also just joined by Reverend John Odo Wokum, who's the chair of our Franchise, Liquor, and Permits Committee.
And he'll explain. and he'll explain
Yeah.
what his function is, what the function of that committee is. Okay.
So you want me to go down first with the new board members, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're going to go just listen in alphabetical order here. So, Jennifer, you're the first one up, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi, Jennifer.
Sorry, my daughter is here temporarily with me.
It's okay.
My husband gets here. So, for those who don't know me, I'm the program director of Open Arms. We're a social daycare in Westchester, East 161st Street. We have been hosting the community board for quite some time. And I thought, since we're hosting the meetings, might as well participate a little bit more. And I got selected to be on the board, which I'm very honored and grateful for. And I thought I would bring maybe a little bit of perspective and do a little bit more in the community for the older adults, since that is who I've been working with for 8 years. I guess that's my 2 cents.
Perfect. That's perfect, Jennifer.
So let me, what would be your expectations in the next 3 years? How do you see yourself being on the board in the next 3 years?
It's a great question. I was just talking with my husband that, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't really doing much, and now I have, so much.
You're only 20 years old now.
I wish. I look 20, so I can pass for a 20-year-old. But I don't know. I can't really answer that question yet. You got to give me a little bit more time for that. But
right.
I hope to stay with the board. I hope to stay in the community and continue working together.
All right. Once you hear from the other committees, then that'll be something that you can work out in your head to see how it works out.
All right, cool. Let's move on then. I also want to acknowledge that we were just joined by Larry Robinson, who's the chair of our youth committee, and Larry's the second vice chair. So we have all 5 executive officers on. So just so that the new members know. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Next up is LaShawn Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is my second time on the community board. I made a brief attempt many years ago, but I was in grad school and didn't realize that I just didn't have the time. So grad school is complete, so I've returned. Thank you for having me back. My interest has always just been trying to take my personal experience and professional knowledge and kind of share it with my community. I'm definitely someone who believes that all things start at a grassroots level, and we have to. I want to live more in a community environment versus a neighborhood, if that makes any sense. And so I'm looking to see how best I can understand what's going on. I'm in the Hunts Point area in particular, but obviously I'm focused on all of the areas that community board covers. But what's coming down the pike, what's changing. I've lived in this neighborhood for over 20 years, and I see, in my opinion, that we're taking a step backwards, and it's concerning to me, quite honestly. So I figure it's the best place to be to find out what I can do and how I can learn, as opposed to guessing what I think is going on, and really understand what's going on, is to start at the community board level.
Thank you. And my question would be, where you see yourself in 3 years?
So I work for the city of New York now for the CCRB. So my goal is obviously to always share what the agency does wherever I go, because I think we serve a purpose for the residents of New York City, but especially in an area of people of color. And also to help the young people, quite honestly. I'm an HR professional. I have a master's degree in human resources, so I like to help everyone understand how to write a resume, cover letter, how to interview, how to find those jobs, how to move from a job to a career. Even those who are in transition and right now there's a lot of job uncertainty, a lot of job insecurity, as well as unemployment. So hopefully I can, be of some use in that space.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And LaShawn, thank you for coming back also.
Yeah.
Good to have you back. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Next up is Love Betancourt. Love, you there? Love? Hello? I know she was on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you, Love. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, Love. Go ahead.
My name is Love Betancourt, and I was raised in the South Bronx. And my goal has always been to help the people in my community. And I think I have been doing that for the past, 40 years?
I see. You don't know.
Yeah. Thank you. I raised my children here. My husband and I, we were high school sweethearts, and we raised our children, came back to the South Bronx, moved out, got married, and came back. So we have been here in this community for 30 years now, plus when I was living here back when I grew up. But, yes, my goal is to continue to help the people in this community, the South Bronx. I see myself, Bobby, I think you asked that question.
What was that?
How do I see myself in the next 3 years?
Yes.
I see myself making a difference in Community Board 2 as a member, Bobby.
Huh?
And I hope I could do that. And thank you for giving me the chance.
Oh, I only been knocking on that door for like 5 years.
I know, Bob.
So I'm glad that you answered finally.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Love, and it's good to have you on here, Love. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. Next up, we have Pascual Gomez. Pascual.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I've been past members of Board 1 and Board 2 in the past, and I've been in this community like 40 and more years, involved in all kinds of things in this community. And always involved because I like to ensure that we have a safe community, a community that deserves everything that they should get, especially nowadays with this pandemic that's happening and the monies that we're losing because of this. And there's craziness in Washington, so we have to get together and fight for our community and give her anything that we need here all the time. Because it's affecting us, it's affecting education, it's affecting health, it's affecting housing, everything. So we need to fight. That's why I'm here now. I'm joining, and I'm going to be very involved with you guys.
And what do you see yourself in 3 years from now?
Still involving. I'll do what I can in terms of whatever has to be done. Whatever has to be done.
Just for the record, Pasky and I have been knowing each other for at least 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
At the minimum 30 years. So I know a lot of Pasky, and he was a city worker and he did a lot of other stuff. So and he's presently at the 4-1. Am I correct? In the council?
4-1, and also a member of the Lincoln Hospital. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. So I have to make sure everything's good in this area, because we need to remember that, unfortunately, with the Bronx, we shouldn't be here. We're number 62 still, and we shouldn't be there. We got to move up. We have to, and we have to show our young people that they have to get involved.
That's right.
All right.
And
thank you so much, Pascual.
Yeah. One of the things I'm very proud.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of the things I'm very proud of, Bobby, today, because I'm doing the early voting, working with the Board of Elections early voting. One of the things I'm very proud of that I've seen a lot of our young people coming out and vote. That is very crucial. I was very happy seeing that.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Some of the executive committee members, we were talking about how people are coming out. So that's a good sign.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, Pascual. Let's move on. We have now Shatora McCoy-Gregg. Shatora, did I pronounce that correctly? Shatora, you there?
She's there. Just give her a second.
Shatora, you
give
there?
her a second. It's Shatoria.
Shatoria. I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Shatoria.
Shatoria Gray, right?
McCoy Greg. But
is Miss Gray?
Like the real McCoy.
I think
the real
she's
McCoy.
on.
She's on. I see her video.
Yeah, she's on, but I think her headphones aren't working.
We just don't get a.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
I'll just leave that off for a second. So yes, you're saying my name correctly. My name is Victoria McCoy Gregg. I've been living in Community Board 2 District for 25 years, and I'm not that old, so basically I've been living here all my life. Speaking about myself, I would consider myself a mental health advocate. I'm in graduate school for mental health counseling. A lot of my efforts is in regards to mental health and social justice reform. I'm a member of a lot of different associations in regards to mental health. I see myself in the next 3 years being able to help push forward any programs and events geared towards mental health, but not solely just that as well. I am a quick learner, and I believe in putting words into action and ideas into action, and I look very forward to doing that here with Bronx Community Board 2.
And Shatoria, how do you see yourself in the next 3 years as a board member?
Being very active, very active and vocal, sharing messages, whether it is handing out flyers, showing up to events, posting on social media, whatever I have to do to get our efforts across. That's what I'm going to do.
Thank you and welcome. Welcome to the board.
Thank you for having me.
we need a lot of, from what I've seen so far, a lot of different aspects of what we need in this community. But Ralph, who's the next?
Okay, thank you, Shatoria, and welcome aboard, and looking forward to working with you. Thank you. That's it. So we heard from all five. Miles, everyone knows Miles Brennan, who's the executive director of the Southern Boulevard Bid. Miles is the last new board member. He did say he will be running a little late. So I don't know what you want to do now, Bobby. Do you want the chairs to come in?
Yeah, please. Open the mics up to the board, to the executive.
Yeah, so I did acknowledge that we do have Larry Robinson on, the chair of our youth services and the second vice chair. So Larry, I did acknowledge you here. So thank you, Larry, for coming. So we're just going to go right down the list in alphabetical order. So we'll start off with Cedric. Cedric, if you can just quickly just mention anything about the Education Committee.
Let me see. Am I on now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are. Yes, Cedric.
The Education Committee exists to assist wherever we can with the education of the youth in this area. Primarily, we're in District 8 and 12. Through Yvonne, we work with the charter schools as well in the districts. And we exist to assist in any way that we can to enhance what they're doing. First of all, we oh Lord, forgive the dog. We need to find.
We're in a new world now.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
I'm going to mute myself. Yvonne can take it from here. Okay.
Yvonne is also she lost connectivity. So she's trying to get back on, but we'll go back over the education if anything, Cedric. Thank you. Julia, Do you want to just mention anything about the health committee since you're the only one here that's on the health committee? Julia?
Health Committee, the chairperson is Luis Macedo. He works in urban health for several years. And what we do in the Health Committee is we try to bring to the forefront any disparities, any health issues that we're having in our neighborhoods. And we have a participant, a member from the Department of Health on the board, on the committee. So she's able to give us updates. I mean, this pandemic has taken up quite a bit of our energy, but we're here to discuss anything that's going on in the community. We've done healthy meetings, so we have a lot of topics that we're covering. And Louis is great as a chairperson, and he gives us a lot of leeway on bringing ideas to the committee. We're trying to cover all age groups too. We used to focus a lot on the children, but now we're focusing on a lot of the different age groups. So it's a great committee. If any of you want to join us, we'll be happy to have you.
Perfect, Julia. Thank you so much for that. Next up is Larry. Larry, you want to talk about the youth?
Oh, okay, hold on. Can
Go ahead, Larry. Yes,
yeah,
we could.
Hello, new members. Hello, Community Board 2 regular members. My name is Larry Robinson, chairperson of Community Board 2 Youth Services. And I would like to tell you guys, if you join the Youth Service Committee, you're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to like doing a lot of things for the kids in the community. I think my committee is one of the best committees. We goes around to all the schools, the programs, and everything in our community, in the organizations that work with kids. We try to advertise, not to take over their program, but to assist them in any way they can to assist our kids in our community. Thank you. Join us. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Larry. Next up, we have Paula. Paula, you want to talk about your housing?
Good evening and welcome, members. This is Paula Fields-Conyers. I'm the treasurer of Community Board 2. I'm also the acting chair for the Housing Committee. At the Housing Committee, we advocate and fight for housing rights in the community. As you just give a brief history, 45 years ago, this district was redlined, and you can see there's a lot of development coming into the area, and the AMI, which is not conducive to the community and community to the workers, to the tenants and the workers and the residents of the community. A lot of that is that's some things that we try to combat. That's a federal level that we have to do. I try to do workshops and provide speakers that have all types of information in housing. Also, part of the Housing Committee, what we were able to accomplish in the last, I think, 2 or 3 years with the development in our district is that when a developer comes in the district, they have to give a workshop that is a 3-part series on housing. HPD, what is HPD, how it functions, Housing Connect, and how that works, and then they're going to help them log on to Housing Connect so that they can be automatically notified when there's an opening for, a housing development anywhere in the city. Also, they help with the credit. So that's a major accomplishment that we fought and advocated for in the district. And thanks to the district manager, the chairperson, and the city council, Mr. Salamanca, we were able to stay firm in that aspect. So Housing Committee is a very great committee because we want to make sure that the people that live in Community Board 2, raised in Community Board 2, have access to fair housing so that we could stay where we built. And that's it.
All right. Cool. Thank you so much, Paula. Next up we have is Reverend John Odo Wokum. He can speak about the Franchise Liquor Permit Committee.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to Community Board 2. And I want you to understand that you're going to enjoy it because our Community Board is one of the best in the Bronx. We are proud of you and we're glad to have you with us. Our committee, the Franchise Alcohol Committee, we basically focus on working with those that already have the licenses or the permits, either for them to renew or for them to for those that are seeking new licenses. And we can either recommend a full license or we can recommend beer and wine. Sometimes it depends on what the individual businesses are applying for. You know, in our community, we try to make sure that we review every business and every application, being conscious of the fact that alcohol, drugs, and guns have been used to destroy the communities of color. Just like we see in the Indian reservation, alcohol is used to destroy them. And when alcohol is allowed to be distributed in poor communities, it always leads to poor quality of life. So we make sure that we work with our businesses to sell alcohol in a responsible way, and knowing that, like in our community board 2, we have issue of high rate of alcohol and substance abuse, and so we try to work with them to make sure that we help them to understand that we are vulnerable, our community is vulnerable, and that there should be, positive influence on our community. And like I said, we are always conscious of the fact that alcohol and drugs have been used openly by the government to destroy minority communities. And so we over the years, we've been working seriously on this, and I can say the Community Board 2 has really been on the forefront of ensuring that, our community is not overly exposed to the abuse of alcohol. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Reverend John. Next up, we have V. Tavares, who's the chair of our Special Events Committee.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome new members. My name is V. Tavares, and I'm the chair of the Special Events Committee. I'll make it brief. The Special Events Committee pretty much organizes and hosts a lot of the events that surround Community Board 2. We basically collaborate with a lot of different organizations and come up with different ideas on how to, bring new events to the community. We recently just had a pop-up Halloween event, which was very well received over the weekend, and I was really happy with the turnout. And my goal when I first joined Community Board 2 was to bring new ideas, come up with different creative ways to bring a sense of community. I think that Community Board 2 has a lot of potential, and I wanted to show other communities what we can do here. So there's so much more that I want to do, and hopefully after this pandemic is over, we can continue to create new ways to bring unity into the community. Thanks.
Thank you, V. Ralph? Rafael?
I'm sorry, I have muted myself. Thank you, V, so much for that. We also have Yvonne, who joined us back on. Yvonne, can maybe just briefly also talk about the Education Committee, Yvonne?
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Yeah? Yes,
hello,
thank you, Yvonne.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay. Hi, guys. Good evening. Thank you for joining, and welcome to our community board, to the best community board in the Bronx. So I'll tell you guys really briefly about the Education Committee. I joined 3 years ago. The reason why I joined, I've been a long-time resident of CV2, District 8, Community School District 8, and I have been a long-time advocate too. I was very passionate because Community District 8 is one of the poorest community districts in the Bronx. So part of our work in the Education Committee is to establish relationships with our schools to ensure that they have the resources that they need to make sure that the kids are receiving the education that they deserve. Doesn't matter the zip code, doesn't matter the borough, doesn't matter where they live, they should be entitled to access to a great education. So part of my goal has been to establish relationships with a lot of our schools. I would say we're still in the preliminary stages of it. A lot of our schools have a lot of trust issues, but my goal is to partner with all of our schools and deepen our relationships to ensure that we get the resources with our local elected officials and CBOs for our schools to get the resources that they need. So I said everything really briefly.
Thank you. Ralph?
Yep, I'm here. So Miles has not jumped on, and we just heard from everybody, the new members and the committee chairs.
What?
So I don't know.
What other committees do we have, Ralph?
I'm sorry?
What other committees do we have that did not?
Oh, we have our economic development municipality,
Right.
which oversees all of the economic development components that present itself in the district. But more importantly, the municipality component of that deals with city agencies. So whenever city agencies are presenting any renovations and upgrades to the district, it goes through that committee. And I guess that's mainly it. And we had environmental, but the environmental is going to be absorbed out by the municipality committee. But that's all of the committees, along with the executive committee, which, is just for the executive board members, the officers, and the committee chairs. But that's mainly it.
All right, Ralph. Cedric, how long have you been a board? How many years have you been on the board?
6 or 7 years.
Thank you. Larry, how long you been on the board? Larry? Larry? Yeah.
I don't know the exact amount of years. I've been a long time from maybe John Roberts, Sister Thomas, and before that, I don't know how long I've been.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Paula, how long you been on the board?
The current board now is probably going to be, I believe it was 2006.
Okay.
And I was on the board in the 80s, but I stopped going when Harry DiRienzo was the chair, and back then. And then I stopped going, and I came back.
Reverend John, how long have you been on the board? And there's a reason why I'm asking everybody this question.
I believe I've been here for almost 12 years.
12 years.
And Julia.
Julia.
I was trying. I'm sorry. I'm trying to unmute myself. I've been on since 2006, 14 years.
Thank you. V?
I can't get the video back.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to say about a year and a half.
Okay. Yvonne?
I have, I want to say 3.5, 4 years on the board.
Okay. And I know Maria's been on for many, many years, which is the chair of ECHO. The reason I was asking that question is so it gives to the credence of my question of, well, how do you see yourself in 3 years to the new board members? And just to show that, you got people here that a year and a half already made it into chairmanship. Some have been long. I've been on the board since 2008. I've been the chair for the last 3 years. Fulfilling 1 year was to fulfill Dr. Emmert's year of his tenure, and then I have my present tenure now of 2 years. So there's always a move, and one of my things that I have been trying to push for a long time is to get new leadership, young leadership, into the executive committee, because some of us got good thoughts, but sometimes new leadership and young leadership brings up better ideas and better ways to function and a better way to get to where we want to go. It's good to see that we have people like LaShawn Lindsay, that's CCRB. We thank God we don't have many problems with our 4-1 precinct. As you know, we try to work as a partnership with the 4-1, but it's good to know because might be a time that I may ask there may be times that I may ask a question that I may not have the answer to, but I know that I have someone there on the board that can answer that question. The same with Jennifer. I would love, one of the things, and Julia knows that I've been trying to establish this, is a committee for senior citizens. For far too many years, our seniors have been overlooked in this community. We only have 2 housing components for seniors. We have the nursing home for our seniors, but that's about it. And I've been trying to get better programming for our seniors because my belief is that seniors can always take us back to the past and show us where we went wrong in the past to where we are here in the present and try to mingle it together to better our future. So I've been trying to push for that. So like I may be talking to Julia and to Jennifer to see how we can put this thing together and create a senior citizens committee, maybe a subcommittee to the health committee, so like that they can both work hand in hand. The same with Ms. Betancourt. She's a homeowner, and I know that she's very active in a lot of programs, and I need to get her input in other issues. But Pascual, like I said, I've known him for over 30 years. He became a board member when I was a district manager in Board 1, and we worked together. And I know he has some good ideas, and he's always been fighting for this community, especially the Longwood historical area. Shatora, I know that this is the first time that I see you, that I've got to meet you. I hope that one day I get to meet all of you in person, and that we could share personal ideas and make this board a little stronger than what we are right now. And so I know that in most of our committees, we have a lot of city agencies that are committee members. So, for instance, with V, we have NYPD, sometimes Parks. They work together in that committee. In the environmental that we used to have before, we used to have DEP, but now DEP will be working with the municipalities committee with Maria Torres. We also have the FOP, the Franchise License Committee, Permit Committee, which works strongly with the police department. They are the main. The committee functions with the 4-1. If there's an establishment that has given us headaches, and their license are coming up for renewal, we're always asking for the reports of any instances that have occurred in those locations. So we try to be as active as we can be. I try to be as active as I can be. And I know that our district manager is also as active as he can be, and he's always constantly out there. So I want to give the floor now to Ralph, so that Ralph can say a few words.
All right, cool. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to remind that the new board members a couple of things. You guys have a borough board orientation coming up. I think it's the 9th. That's pretty much open. I had Cynthia send that to all the board members purposely, but that's a good orientation so you guys can get an idea of do's and don'ts. And it's more about parliamentary procedures. So with that being said, I'm going to also two things. The first one was making sure that you guys attend that meeting, the general orientation for new community board members. And the second thing is people should familiarize themselves with Robert Rules of Order, because that's how all of our meetings are conducted, under Robert Rules of Order. So there's always a certain order of procedure when we handle everything, including from our agenda, voting items, and discussions. And this is where the term "you're out of order" comes from. Because if you're not in order of the procedures, you're out of orders and you're not going to be recognized by the chair. And part of my job is to remind people of Robert Rules so that we can conduct business in an orderly fashion. That's the bottom line. You don't want to steer off the agenda items, and a lot of times that can happen. So my job is to reel people back in and keep everybody in order with what's being discussed at the table. Also, there's a community portal that shows exactly everything that's going on in our district as far as demographics. If you want, I can pull that up now so that you get a better idea of what our community portal is. I can look for it in the meantime. But what I have up now is our agenda for Wednesday. We have our full board meeting on Wednesday. So just want the new board members to get an idea. We have a public hearing regarding the capital and budget expenses. We have our public session. And then we have this is the order of how we conduct business. And as you can see, there's times next to it to show the time frame of how long that particular item on the agenda has. We have a couple of voting items. The first one, we have two from the economic development. One is regarding parks, and the other is regarding the Department of Transportation. And we have 4 items to discuss on the Franchise License and Permit Committee. And then we have 2 other committees that met that are going to brief us on their meeting. So all the work is done at the committee level. What you're seeing here, none of this is new. Everything is done at the committee level purposely so that when it comes to the full board, the item is discussed. The motion has been made already at the committee, and then there's a vote, and that's it. So when you have people asking questions about whatever the item is, let me just look at the first one here, which is Club W, right here, this resolution, right? Resolution number 1. When you have people discussing about security and everything, it is the chairman or the committee chair's job to refer that person to either the minutes of the meeting or to attend the meeting, so that you can ask these questions at the committee level. All the work is done at the committee level. What you're seeing here is the outcome, and that's all according to Robert Rules of Order. And where all community boards throughout the city council, the state assembly, the state senate, all legislation bodies, when they're having their meetings, everything is conducted under Robert Rules of Order. And that's why I keep referring that to you. So once you understand the order of business, you can't interrupt people. You got to let people finish what they're saying. You might only have a certain amount of time to speak, so you want to get your point across. And part of my job is to help you understand these dynamics. So if you're stuck with something, and unfortunately we cannot purchase Robert Rules of Order for board members. There's a book. It's always being updated Robert Rules was General Robert. He was in the English parliamentary back in the colonial times, and he made this system of how to conduct meetings in an orderly fashion. And parliamentary in England still follow Robert Rules. Here in America, we follow Robert Rules. And I'm making a big deal of this because a lot of times people jump out of order in a meeting, and sometimes they don't get entertained, and these are the reasons why, because you're out of order, and we're sticking with the order to conduct business. I'm going to be looking now for the community portal. I just want to show you the agenda. We also, besides Robert Rules, we have our own bylaws. So Robert Rules is on a general level, right? And then our bylaws are always being amended. So the bylaws goes over what each community board has their own set of bylaws. Our bylaws are about 19 pages long, and it also breaks down the order of how we do business. And the bylaws will now, as you can see in Article 2, they talk about powers and the procedures. We talk about members, how many members we can have. It talks about attendance. So all you guys, so the last revised one was done in 2017, and all the new board members will be receiving bylaws. I'm sure Cynthia will email them to you guys. But before we email them, I just wanted to discuss this with you guys. So everything of all our rules and regulations for our community board are in our bylaws. Other boards may operate differently because they're going to go according to their bylaws. So our bylaws, even if you're requesting a leave of absence, there's a certain way of doing it without being penalized. Hearings and meetings. You see, we always list on how we run and conduct all our meetings. Everything goes back to our bylaws. So once you get this, familiarize yourself with this. Article 7 is about the officers, and it explains how the officers and how they're appointed and so forth like that. Next thing I want to do is just show you guys the calendar for November. The calendar gets approved by the executive committee the month before, and then next month is not a good month to look at the days that the committees meet, because next month we have Election Day, we have Veterans Day, and we have Thanksgiving. And so those days are holidays. We cannot conduct business on holidays. So all the committees are moved around, but I'll make sure that the office emails you guys not only the bylaws, but we'll email you the
calendar.
The calendar for November. Cynthia, is there anything else that I'm missing here that you want to maybe bring up?
Yes. So once they are appointed to a committee, they just have to make sure that they attend that committee, because their attendance will determine whether the meeting actually gets to go on.
Right.
And so you guys have to attend your general committee and then the full board. So there's 2 meetings a month, and that's pretty much it. We just have to make sure that you guys attend those 2 meetings in order to proceed with our business.
Right.
And so
just ask, are there any questions from any of the new members regarding anything that we just described?
I just want
Jennifer has a question.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
I don't have a question, but I wanted to respond to you about, what do I to do in 3 years? So I was thinking about that as well, that I would really like to work with the health committee and aging committee and bringing more awareness in the area about what is available to them, because from my own even clients, a lot of them have no idea what is there out there for them, what kind of assistance there is, and what they can do and where they can go so they don't have to sit home. So I would love to work with Julia and the health committee on creating an aging committee.
Thank you, Jennifer. And you're going to be making.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're gonna make Julia very, very happy.
Yeah, Jennifer, not only where the resources are, but also their health. And, their health is really, really a big thing. So that's another thing.
Especially.
Right, we have LaShawn.
Thank you, Jennifer.
LaShawn has
Thank
a
you.
question. LaShawn?
Hi everyone. So I'm not sure if this is something that's possible. Again, for me, one of the big things is to help everyone with job insecurity, especially with this pandemic. This is going to be a heavy lift for a while, I think, for everyone to kind of catch up. And you're going to have a lot of people in the working pool, in the workforce, fighting for the same jobs. So traditionally what I see is, jobs that maybe, high school students may be taking in fast food. You'll have people who have families fighting for those jobs as well. So is there any flexibility with having a job readiness committee? Or would I need to focus on potentially where I could fit in another committee?
Well, what we usually do is, first of all, Larry works a lot with the youth and trying to get employment for the youth. So Larry's constantly out there. The other way that we try to establish employment in the community is when, like Ralph had explained about or Paula had explained about the housing committee. When housing projects come in, we put stipulations on there that we should somewhere or another find a way, and there is a way. We've discovered it through the city that they can hire these potential jobs and projects can hire people from the community, and it's a process that has to go through there. Puff was the one that established that, and Ralph has been working very strongly on that issue. So if it's not housing, if it's just a new company coming into the community and letting us know that they're coming in, we meet with them, talk with them, and we tell them, listen, it's great that you guys are coming into the community, but what else is the community going to get? And we try to negotiate to see how we can establish relationships to make that possible in getting some jobs. Ralph has developed the idea of walk to work. So he's been very successful on that. So I think that's a thing that you could do working with Ralph.
Okay. Also, LaShawn, we have a great, association with Workforce One in the community, like Bobby was saying. When those jobs, Workforce One, reach out to community members and find out who's qualified for the job. And like you said, it's stipulated in the contract. We don't want them to say, oh, you're going to guarantee the job. But if that person is experienced and has knowledge of that base of what is going to be hired, we prefer that they choose our community first. So the community leaders, the elected officials, Mr. Salamanca, mainly have job fairs. They have them quite frequently, but because of the pandemic, I haven't seen one since maybe early spring. But, the pandemic has interrupted a lot of things, but if you come across anything and any knowledge, any companies that want to come into the community, they have to come through the board, so we try to encourage them to hire locally first.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
LaShawn, also in our economic development committee,
right?
We have a committee member, Miguel Gallo, who works right around the corner from he works on Hunts Point Avenue, 754. He works for Project Hope, and they do job development. So, Miguel is a committee chair, and we also have a workforce development that's upstairs from our office, and we try our best to hold them accountable with exactly what you was mentioning about resume building, getting job readiness, preparing for interviews, and these are things that Miguel Calderon do. So we already have that under our economic development.
Okay.
I would suggest that you attend one of those meetings, at least so you get a better idea, and then take it from there. And then we can have a discussion on moving forward with that. So I just want to bring that to your attention.
Wonderful.
Before anything else, if you guys are looking at your screen, I know that Pasquale and Love don't have, they're not on, but this is the state needs for our board, board 2. So this is coming up right now, and it has all the demographics and what we are missing, what we feel are our priorities, but it also breaks down the actual numbers, demographic-wise, of age groups, how many people are in school, who's failing school, medical. It breaks everything down for our board. So I would suggest that people would look at that also, that form, the community needs. And I can also email that to people. That's not a problem. So just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. That's it.
And the only thing to the new board members that I just want to, and I thought Cynthia was going to jump on it because she's always jumping on me because of it, is attendance. I'm a stickler for attendance. And the reason I'm a stickler for attendance is because committees cannot function and do their business unless they have quorum. And so in order to establish quorum, you have to have the committee members there. And so when you get your bylaws, you will see that if you miss 3, and it doesn't have to be consecutive, if you miss 3 committee meetings, you will be asked to come before the executive committee meeting, the executive committee to discuss why that has occurred. We just don't remove board members. There's a due process that we got to go through, and we will ask what happened. It could be school, and LaShawn, you're more experienced on that. It could be schooling, it could be work, it could be you're not well, certain things. We take all of that into our decision, and then we will talk with you and make sure that it just doesn't occur again. But if it continues to happen, then there's going to be another meeting, and it'll probably be with me and the district manager to discuss this, and I will let the executive committee know what happened behind that.
Can I just jump in on something? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we understand sometimes I do speak to members, and verbally it's very difficult. So I just ask, if you are going to miss a meeting, please just email us, because it's easier for me to remember to send it to the correct person. Because if you tell me verbally and I forget to mention it, because there's a lot of things going on, like if you tell me 5 minutes prior to the meeting, I may not get it to the appropriate person. So if you can just email me whatever it is, or just say, hey, I can't make it today, I have school, my kids are sick, or whatever the situation is, so that way we can send it to the chairperson.
And that helps us tremendously, because then we have then an expectation of what's going to happen in the committee. And if there is no quorum in the committee, then it goes before the executive board to handle whatever issues from that committee. And then we will then bring it to the full board for a full vote. But also, it's not just the committees; it's the board meetings. 3 absences from the board meeting also will constitute for you to be called in, and we will discuss it. What's going on? What's the matter? And again, it could be like Cynthia stated. It could be your child has been sick. You got school. You're working overtime because your job is mandating you to work overtime. Because we have 1 or 2 board members that are like that. They work for the Board of Elections. We know now, luckily, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it's not affecting us in that sense. But we know usually when in a normal world without the pandemic, we would know that those people will not be available for a board meeting. And so we automatically excuse them for that board meeting. But board meetings attendance is very important, and so is committee meetings. And so understand that that's a stickler of mine, and only because if we don't have that quorum, we can't conduct business. And if we go into the to the full board and we have problems, then it really becomes a major problem if we don't meet quorum there. Because usually that's when we're voting on everything that all the committees have worked on during during that month. Ralph?
Yeah. So I just put the viewer on the side, the multimedia viewer, the demographics that I was describing, because it's a link. And I don't have right now to save it on PDF and everything. It would just take me a little longer, so people could scroll down. You got a general idea of community board and what's going on over there. We talked about attendance. I think we covered a lot here. It's just a matter now of the executive committee assigning the new board members committees, right?
What I would like is for the new board members, you've heard what some of the committees are all about. If you're interested in any of the committees, please contact Cynthia, and she will let Ralph and I know, and then we will see what, because our bylaws also state that we can only have X amount of board members on a committee, and that was done only because of the quorum question, because there were some committees that had 15 board members, but we weren't even meeting quorum at 15. And then there were some committees that only had 2 members, and they can't function because if they disagreed, then who's breaking the tie? So we fixed the committee, the body of the committees to be a certain amount. However, there are exceptions to all rules, but I would have to take it to the executive board for them to approve it. But please let Cynthia know what preference you would like. Like Jennifer already stated, she would love to work in the health committee with Julia to try and establish a subcommittee for the seniors. So we already know that probably we have openings there. Everybody usually wants to go into the housing committee meeting, the housing committee.
It looks like it's going to be the health committee looks like it's going to be very full this year.
Okay. And right, because of the pandemic. Let me just say, it does not preclude you from being part of any other committee. You can attend any other committee. You can participate in any other committee, but your attendance committee is the committee you selected, and that's the one that we follow the rules on. Did I explain myself right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. If there's anything else, because if not, that should wrap it up.
Do you have any questions? Any more questions before we wrap it up, though?
I just want to make sure everyone understands or feel comfortable enough to ask a question.
Who's that?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I wanted to let LaShawn know that I'm interested in the job program, and if she would like to work with me on that, I will appreciate it, because we are looking into how, Word of Life is looking into how to link up residents with job opportunities.
Sure, that's not a problem.
Yes, so please.
So if I could just add what I was thinking, I know everyone needs to go, but my intentions are to share the resources and to help everyone, people who are looking for employment, to know where to go, right? Outside of the traditional, people still think it's like monster.com and stuff like that, and LinkedIn. And there are so many other places other than even Workforce One, right? And the other component for me is not just having a resume, but having a resume that's selected, right? Because that's what I do for my agency. I do their hiring, right? So you don't get in for an interview unless you get past me first, right? But your resume has to speak to the person who's given the first glance. Right. So it has to be free of typos, and, it needs to be structurally sound and a cover letter and things like that. And again, dispelling some of those myths that people think one resume is all you need. Nowadays, we all need resumes that speak to that job that we're looking for. And again, I think it's very easy for us to go into like a Target or a McDonald's and stuff like that and apply for those fast food jobs because, they're usually hiring hopefully very quickly and you can earn money, and that's great. But I would also like to have not just the youth, but families, working moms and dads, and, those who are transitioning to understand that, there are other jobs out there. There's private sector and nonprofit and government and navigating how to navigate all of that. So I'm speaking more larger when I say job readiness. I'm not speaking just in terms of the resume and cover letter, but the interviewing techniques, understanding behavioral interviewing, understanding how to answer the question that everyone seems to get stumped on, which is usually what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? And how understanding like not to trip yourself up, how to write a thank you note after a job interview, how to follow up, to find out the status of your application with an employer. So things like that I'm thinking of. And yes, I'm happy to help wherever I'm needed. Okay, my goal is just to share what I know.
Thank you, LaShawn. And that's why we also work with Hope.
Urban Health too, though, because even Urban Health, they supply clothing because a lot of people don't even have the correct clothing for these things.
Right.
Exactly.
So we work with Urban Health. We work with Hope. Hope, part of Miguel's, what he usually does with anybody, he interviews them, he talks to them, he looks at them, he looks at the resume, he'll spell out, what's wrong with it or where he's maybe weak at. But that's why we're working with Miguel and the economic community, because that's where a lot of the job possibilities.
Okay. Yep.
So, there's people. I keep telling everybody, this community is no longer, they look at it as a poor community. I said, no, you'd be surprised how many people have degrees in this community. Unfortunately, they just don't have the opportunities. And so part of the opportunities is you went to school, you got the degree, but you don't know how to interview. And so, or you don't know how to write a real good resume. So those are the things that, I see that's what I would echo.
Okay. No problem. Okay? Sure.
Shatoria, I haven't heard anything from you. I know you've heard everything. Everything okay?
She's been texting me too, so she wants to deal with health.
Oh, with health? Okay. Yeah, listen, I know that Lewis is going to love it, and Cynthia, because see, one of the other things that everybody should know is that we always have a staff member in every committee, that we have. So they're the best person that you want to work with in your committee to find out any more information. And then if there's other things that you're interested in besides that committee, then Ralph or I or any of the other chairs would be the people you should be talking to. All right? Ralph, it's yours.
I guess that's it. We covered a lot already here. Tomorrow, Cynthia and I will email the bylaws, the link to the community portal. Please make sure that you guys attend the borough president's orientation. And like I said before, that's open to all board members. If any other board member want to take a refresher with that, you guys will get the links now to the meetings. Please attend the meetings. I know, I think everyone here, even Pasquale, I think attended one. But Love has attended committee meetings already. Shatora, Jennifer, and LaShawn Lindsay, which is good. So they already got an idea of other committees. Really happy to see them on at other committees, and I'm really happy to see the executive members here also, just to explain more or less about what their committees are and what their impressions of the board is. Good stuff. That's it for me, Mr. Chair.
Well, if they have any more questions, they can email us and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Any other questions, Ralph and Cynthia's the staff? They're the ones that, and naturally, if you need to reach me, my cell number is 64. I'm sorry, that was my old number. 718-825-1266. If you need to reach me and talk to me about anything, feel free to call me. My phone is on till about 2 in the morning, because sometimes Ralph and I are talking to each other at that time. Not anymore. Not anymore. I should say not anymore. Okay. Not anymore.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, Isabel took your spot, Robbie.
That's right. and no better person should have taken that spot. But my phones are usually on, and if you need to talk about anything, if there's a issue with another board member, please bring it to Ralph's attention or
in
mine.
Writing.
Or
in writing.
Yeah. If you want to talk to us first, you can talk to us first. But if you want any actions on whatever occurred, must be in writing. All right? Because then this way there's a procedure that we have to work with. And Ralph, I got to talk to you about that committee down the road, because we got to change the members every year, remember? So, all right, that's all for me.
That was not voted in. I don't think that was voted in, Bobby. That was a motion, and it did not pass.
Well, we'll talk anyway. I got
Happy Halloween. Have a safe one, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Happy Halloween, and I'll see you
Wednesday. We'll see everybody Wednesday.
On Wednesday, please.
I'll see everybody on Wednesday.
Bye, guys.
All right. Take care. Take care, everybody.